ATEA சிகரம் தொட்ட சாதனை தமிழர்களின் கூட்டமைப்பு அமெரிக்கன் தமிழ் என்டர்பிரினியர்ஸ் அசோசியேஷன் 2016 ஆண்டு சான் பிரான்சிஸ்கோவிலும் நியூயார்க்கிலும் அனுபவம் வாய்ந்த தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் ஒரு சிலரால் ஆரம்பிக்கப்பட்டது இந்த ATEA. தேச எல்லைகள் கடந்து உலகெங்கும் பறந்து வாழும் நம் தமிழ் உறவுகள் மத்தியில் தொழில் முனைவோர் அனைவரையும் அரவணைத்து பல்வேறு தொழில்துறைகளில் முதலீட்டு ஆலோசனைகள், தொழில்நுட்ப ஆலோசனைகள், புதிய தொழில்துறைகளுக்கான ஆலோசனைகள் மற்றும் வழிகாட்டல்கள் அடங்கிய பயிலரங்குகளையும் கருத்தரங்குகளையும் தொடர்ச்சியாக நடத்தி வருகிறது ATEA. பல ஆயிரம் உறுப்பினர்களை கொண்ட ATEA இன்று தொடக்க நிலையில் இருக்கும் தொழில்நுட்ப நிறுவனங்களுக்கும், ஹெல்த் கேர், ஆர்கானிக் ஃபார்மிங், ரியல் எஸ்டேட் நிறுவனங்கள் மற்றும் பிரான்சைஸ் வணிகத்துறை ஆகியவற்றுக்கும் முதலீட்டாளர்களை அறிமுகம் செய்வதோடு அத்துறைகளில் அவர்களது வெற்றிக்கு வழிகாட்டியாக உதவிக்கரம் நீட்டும் பணியையும் செய்து வருகிறது. அமெரிக்க தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் சங்கத்தின் மற்றுமோர் புதிய முயற்சி ATEA டிஜிட்டல் ஆக்சலரேட்டர். இந்த முயற்சியின் மூலமாக பல முதலீட்டாளர்களின் அறிமுகமும், பல தொழில் வல்லுநர்களின் தொடர்பும், நிபுணர்களின் வழிகாட்டலும் மட்டுமன்றி தமிழக அரசின் ஸ்டார்ட் அப் கிராண்ட்ஸ், அதாவது மானிய உதவியும் கிடைக்கும் வாய்ப்பும் உள்ளது. வாருங்கள், தரணியெங்கும் வாழும் நம் தமிழர்களை தலை நிமிர்ந்த தமிழ் இனமாக மாற்றும் லட்சியத்துடன் ஒன்றிணைவோம். தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் உலகின் எந்த மூலையில் இருந்தாலும் அமெரிக்க தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் சங்கத்துடன் இணைய தொடர்பு கொள்ளுங்கள். மின்னஞ்சல், இமெயில் contact@ateausa.org, இணையதளம் www.ateausa.org.
Looks like we are live now. Good morning, good evening, everyone. On behalf of American Tamil Entrepreneurs Association, I would like to welcome you all to ATEA Digital Accelerator Startup Cohort KickOff today. It's a beautiful evening here in California. I'm Janaki Kauta. I'm going to be your host for the event today's program. So before we begin the event, I would like to introduce these people don't need an introduction, but let me kickstart by introducing Lena Kannappan and Ram Nagapan. They both are ATEA executive team. Ram Nagapan is the co-founder of ATEA. As the CIO of BNY Mellon Pershing, he oversees the technology development and deployment of digital experience central wealth management solutions. As a member of both Pershing's executive committee and BNY Mellon's leadership team, he is closely involved in firm's strategic direction and actively collaborates with his colleagues across the enterprise. Now, Lena is a co-founder of ATEA. He is a serial entrepreneur with 27 years of experience who co-founded Healthcare Triangle Inc., a healthcare cloud and data analytics firm. Lena is also the COO of Secure Cloud Technologies. As a visionary thought leader in the cloud and identity space, Lena leads and directs the business operations and technology solutions for secure cloud in financial services, media, manufacturing verticals. Now, Lena, take it from here.
I think Lena is having some technical difficulty and he should be coming shortly. There are a few folks who are having some technical issues and precautions we're working on. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to the second cohort of ATEA Digital Accelerator. And we welcome you all today. We have a great show. And there are a few things that I wanted to announce on behalf of ATEA that are upcoming for the people and the listeners who will be excited to hear that. The first one that I want to talk about is ATEA is trying to create a new fund called an impact fund that is primarily geared towards investing in sustainable projects. For example, helping people get jobs. Second is educational loans and small business lending, as well as certain other public health projects. Now, we will be doing this both in US as well as in Tamil Nadu. So I'm happy to announce that there's a lot of people have come up to be part of this fund. So that's one announcement. And the second one, many startups have come and asked that they need referrals to the client. And we were trying to figure that out, how we can make that easy, because we have a good CXO network. And we wanted to bring all the CXOs into the forum and help introduce them to the startup entrepreneurs, to the entrepreneurs. So that's a second thing that we are trying to work on it. There are a lot more announcements that when Lena comes back, we'll be happy to, bring it to all of you. Once again, I don't want to be in the middle of, great speakers. So I'll welcome Janaki and the MCs to come back on stage and take the show from here. Thank you very much.
Am I live now, Prakash?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for setting aside your valuable time on Sunday evening to be part of this kickoff for ATEA's Digital Accelerator Cohort 2 VC deal flow sessions. I thank the fireside chat speakers, Shirish Nadkarni as well as Gauri, for taking time on a Sunday evening to be with us today. I also would like to really thank and invite our speakers from Government of Tamil Nadu, especially the Managing Director and CEO for Guidance Agency, Ms. Pooja Kulkarni. Today she'll be speaking about the startup ecosystem in Tamil Nadu, what are various activities that Guidance is planning to do in her tenure in the next coming couple of years. And at this moment, we want to extend big thanks to Mr. Neeraj Mittal, who was a previous MD for Guidance, who really helped us kickstart this relationship between ATEA and Guidance, and also a lot of contribution he has made in terms of getting our digital accelerator going with the startup entrepreneurs here and connecting with Tamil Nadu in general. And then we have the next speaker is Dr. Armagam, who is the director of ATEA from Chennai, who will be joining us live and talking about some of the things that ATEA is planning to do in Chennai, establishment of the chapter, and he will be discussing more about that. And finally, the chair keynote, we will have Mr. N. Muruganandam, IAS, who is the Principal Secretary for Industries, who will be giving a keynote and discuss about the opportunities in the industries where Guidance is a part of, and we are really glad to have him as well today. And I'd like to give a very brief note. I think, as you all know, American Tamil Entrepreneurs Association was founded in 2016, and we have taken up many different activities. And as you know, today the focus is on Digital Accelerator program, which we have made tremendous progress. This is our second cohort. The previous cohort, we had about 75 companies who applied, and we shortlisted about top 10 companies who were given opportunities to present in front of 8 or 10 investors early this year. And also we nominated about 6 startups for potential grants from Tamil Nadu. And in June, after the grants review committee meeting met to meet with these entrepreneurs from Tamil Nadu, they announced about 5 winners who will be receiving grants. I think that's really a great news and great success as part of this whole program. And as we are now in cohort 2 with this deal flow, we have shortlisted about 12 companies who will be presenting in front of several investors on Monday and Tuesday. These startups actually come from various verticals, from healthcare to food delivery to e-commerce to electric vehicles, and different verticals ATEA supports today. And I think we'll we would like to really invite, if you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, to join this program and benefit from this program. One last thing I want to comment. There are about 40 to 50 curators and evaluators across from the US who are part of this program. So we really thank for their participation and time. These are accomplished entrepreneurs who are taking time to give back to the community. And we are really thrilled to have them, and we want to see this grow. And there is various new aspects of the program that we have on the plan going into 2022. And there's a one big aspect from this program. We are able to bring in about $500 million worth of portfolio funds to support this ecosystem, which is very unique. The way we handle the whole process and how we shortlist and have these startups ready to pitch in front of startups. And we thank the venture capitalists, seed funds, and various individual investors to be part of this. And we would like to take this further going into next year and the upcoming cohorts. I think there'll be more opportunities if you have not participated. One thing is, we don't reject companies who didn't make it in the first two cohorts. We always encourage them to come back and reapply if you have made progress with their business. So with that, I think I'll turn it over to Ram to say a few more words.
Yeah. So thank you, Lena. So this is what happened while we were having some audio difficulty. I actually went in first and said what I needed to say. So, but anyway, it is okay. So I'm going to just sync it up. So to the viewers, so as Lena said, we have a great cohort number 2 digital accelerator event. And as I don't want to repeat this, this is about the 2 new programs that we are introducing. One is the fund that I already mentioned. The fund is an impact fund for sustainable projects. And the most important thing is getting jobs, helping people find the job. That's number 1. And also educational loans and also, startup loans. That's how we're going to start. But there's a lot more, traction and interest in this area. So we're going to do that. And to be the short on the second one is the CXO forum for the startups to get introduced to the new clients. Those are the 2 things you're going to hear through our social media more about it. So with that, I think we'll have the MCs come back and introduce today's speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ram.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Shirish, you can hear me, and Ram, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
Okay, great. Good evening. It is a pleasure and my honor to host this fireside chat with Shirish. I have known Shirish for a very long time, and I really want to acknowledge Ram, Nagapan, and Lena Kannappan, and Prakash Narayan for inviting us to this fireside chat. Even though it's late Sunday evening in the United States, I'm sure it's fairly early in the morning for folks in India, and especially in Chennai and other places in Tamil Nadu. And it's going to be a very fascinating discussion. So I'll dig straight into it. Shirish and I have met about, quite a while ago. And at that time, Shirish was an entrepreneur and had started his first startup. During the years that I've known him, he's done many startups and now he's an author. Shirish, why don't, for the audience, you introduce your journey from Bombay and then Mumbai now to the US, and how you ended up in the very, very early days of Microsoft.
You bet. Again, thanks for having me on this program. Great to be with all of you. So I came to the US almost 40 years ago. I was a student at IIT Bombay and made a very unusual decision at that point to go to the US for my undergraduate studies. At that time, most Indians would come for their graduate studies, but I decided to go to University of Michigan, and I completed my undergraduate study in electrical engineering. And then I worked in the Bay Area for a couple of years as a software engineer, then went to Harvard Business School to get my MBA. And in 1987, I joined Microsoft. Microsoft actually at that time was not a very well-known company. At that time, their main product was MS-DOS. Windows was far from being released at that point, and Bill Gates was on the cover of Time magazine. And all I knew about Seattle was that Seattle had Boeing, and it rained a lot in Seattle. But I was fascinated by the PC industry. I wanted to get into a company at a very early stage and learn my ropes, hopefully to become an entrepreneur at some point in the future. But that's how I ended up at Microsoft.
Awesome. So let me take you straight to 2021. Now, Shirish, you're an author. Your book, From Startup to Exit, has been published. For everybody in the audience, I've read this book. I've actually used it as a guide more than a book. It's available every day to me. Even though I have been an entrepreneur, I still feel like this is a guide that can guide me in day-to-day stuff that I'm not be familiar with. And it's a fascinating story, your journey as well as the book. Shirish, let's delve into the book itself. Why did you become an author? You could have been a 4-time entrepreneur. Instead, you decided after 3 times it was enough. You wanted to go become an author. That's not the usual journey for entrepreneurs. Why?
Right. I have somewhat of an idealistic mission for the book. As you may know, 9 out of 10 startups fail. But the one startup that succeeds, companies like Microsoft, Google, etc., can change the world. So my hope with this book is to change that equation even slightly, so that even if now 2 companies succeed, in some small way, I would have had a pretty major impact on the startup ecosystem and also to the worldwide economy at large. If we can inspire young people to become entrepreneurs and eventually create unicorns and large companies, that would have been a good job on my part.
Awesome that you could write a book, especially the way I look at it, it's a guide. Today, the entrepreneurial journey, when you look at it from an India perspective, is very different than when we all started it, whether it was me or you or Ram or Lena, etc. We all started it. Now, there's unicorns being minted every day, but fundamentals are still the same. So what would you pick out from your book as the number one thing for every entrepreneur to and our startup teams to look at and say, this is the number one thing they should be looking at when they want to go out and start a company?
Yeah, one of the key things that I emphasize in my book is that it's really important for entrepreneurs or startups to focus on first achieving what I call product market fit. That's a term that was popularized by Mark Andreessen, who's written about it extensively, and I also talk about it in my book. It's really to make sure that your product addresses the needs of the marketplace and does a great job of satisfying those needs. And I've seen time and time again, especially with technologists who are enamored with technology, going out there and building a product that satisfies their needs, and then they launch it and spend a whole bunch of money marketing it, etc. And it falls flat on its face because they've not taken the time to really understand the market the pain points, the needs, and making sure that the product really addresses those needs. So I can talk more about how to go about doing it, etc. But fundamentally, achieving product market fit is the number one mission for most startups.
Awesome. So let me then take you way back into your early days at Microsoft. And one of the key accomplishments when you were at Microsoft was the acquisition of Hotmail by Microsoft. And that really put Microsoft on path to consumer email, right? And how did that experience translate into your first startup, which was mobile email acquired by BlackBerry? Where can you talk a little bit about your experience acquiring it, and more importantly about your first startup, Teamon, that addressed email on, at that point, most people would not know in the audience that there was a device called BlackBerry, which had keyboards on a phone.
Right.
Physical keyboards.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Hotmail acquisition, which I drove at Microsoft. Very interesting story. At that time, I was heading up the product strategy for MSN.com, which was coming in kind of behind, other portals like Yahoo and others. And one of the things that we felt was really essential to drive the success of our portal was an email offering that would bring users to our portal on a daily basis and make it a very sticky proposition. And so at that time, Hotmail had gained a lot of prominence. They were growing very rapidly, adding almost 1 million users at that time every month, which was quite phenomenal. And they had a very simple concept, which was accessing your email from a web browser. I mean, it seems very natural today, but believe me, at that time in 1997, the concept of accessing your email from browser was totally revolutionary. And so we made the pitch to Bill Gates. It took a lot of convincing because Microsoft has its own email technology and could have built it themselves. But we felt it was very important to be out in the market quickly with a web-based email product. And ultimately, we convinced Bill Gates as well as the founders of Hotmail to do the acquisition for almost $400 million at that point, one of the biggest acquisitions for Microsoft at that point. So that's a little bit of history around Hotmail. And then at that time, I was very interested in becoming an entrepreneur. This was at the height of the dot-com boom. A lot of companies were getting funded. And so I said, hey, I want to try my own hand at becoming an entrepreneur, see if I can succeed on my own without the help of somebody like Microsoft. And before Hotmail, I had launched email software at Microsoft. And so I had a lot of kind of experience with email. And at that time, devices like BlackBerry, Palm 7 were becoming available that offered you email through a wirelessly connected device. And phones were also becoming available with internet access. And so I said, hey, everybody wants to access their email wherever they are. And so why not offer email on a phone, mobile email on your phone? And that's what we built with Teamon, which ultimately got acquired by BlackBerry.
Awesome. So through your both your initial at Microsoft, then later on at BlackBerry, you work for mercurial entrepreneurs, right? And who were founders and CEOs and did revolutionary things. So is there a typical entrepreneur? You're one of those. Is there a typical entrepreneur that you would say, hey, this is a person made out to be an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. There's a lot of people who think that you have to be like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, visionary founders, or you need to have started a business by the time you're 18, like Michael Dell. And certainly, those are examples of amazing entrepreneurs. But I don't think you need to really be in that league to be successful. I think there are really three main attributes to be a successful entrepreneur. One is you need to have a very, very strong customer and product orientation. You need to have deep empathy with the customer. Really, understand what their needs are, what their pain points are, and then be very capable of building a product that can address the customer's needs. It doesn't mean that you have to be a technical person. You can certainly partner with technical people to build the product, but you need to have a strong product orientation to understand what product needs to be built. The second thing is really the ability to sell your vision. You need to be selling at all times, whether it is to investors, whether it's to employees, to partners, to customers. And you really need to enjoy that process. You don't need to be a salesperson again to be successful, but you need to be really articulate in terms of articulating your vision to your partners, customers, and employees. And then finally, you need to have tremendous perseverance and grit. It's really a marathon, not a 100-meter race. You don't need to burn yourself out, but you need to have a steady mind and a sense of purpose to really go about solving the problems that you'll encounter many problems, and you need to have a steady mind and perseverance to get through all those issues.
Great. Glad you brought these things. So as an entrepreneur now, I have the idea. I think I've articulated the vision and I get that going. But most entrepreneurs have to raise capital, right? Even though there's abundant capital today, in your book, you articulate about how to get the capital into your company, and then how to make sure that you, the founding team and the investors are well aligned. Talk a little bit about, even in today's world where there's abundant capital, the raising of the capital and how best entrepreneurs should approach when they should raise the capital for the company.
Yeah, that's a question that I get all the time from people that I advise. The two things I kind of emphasize and I talk about in my book. One is that you need to have sufficient traction, consistent with the stage you're at. So if you're an early stage company, then you need to have one or two customers who are using a product and are can sing praises about what they like about your product. If you're further along, then you need to have a well-oiled sales machine, etc., and generating a certain amount of revenue and so forth. And the second thing is to really be very good at storytelling. So it's not just a dry pitch about what your product is and why it's great, etc., but you need to paint an overall picture of the industry and why you are uniquely positioned to disrupt and succeed in that industry. As an example, with my second company, Mocha, which was in the language learning space, this was in 2007 when globalization was really a mega trend around the world. And as a result of that, people around the world wanted to learn English. So I painted this picture of rapid globalization and outsourcing of jobs to China and India and emerging countries like Brazil and Russia and so forth, and the fact that over 1 billion people needed to learn English, and that's why Mocha, with its focus on conversational English, would be successful. So that's the picture that I painted, and so what I really encourage entrepreneurs to do is to really understand what are the mega trends and how do they fit into those trends and how you can really disrupt industries and incumbents and be successful.
Nice. Good. Let me shift a little bit, right? you work with a ton of SaaS companies today, I'm aware, in Seattle. And with this recent success of Freshworks on NASDAQ, where our common friend Pradeep Ratnam is Chief Commercial Officer. And congrats to the Girish and Pradeep for a successful NASDAQ listing. In SaaS and enterprise software in particular, software can be made anywhere. There's no question. Pre-COVID, post-COVID, doesn't matter, right? But now, going back to your book and to your earlier answer on product market fit, how does somebody understand the market they're serving, even though they're not building it in the market that they're serving, right? You could be building a product for the US market while you're building it in India or Brazil or China, but you got to make that big leap, right? How would you advise those entrepreneurs, especially those listening to us in India today? How do they overcome that initially?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. We've talked to Sudhir Kunuru, CEO of Zenoti, who had a similar, transition. He started in India, and then ultimately he came to the US and has a very, successful sales operation in the US, in addition to India and Southeast Asia. I would, if you're based in India and you're working on a startup and you ultimately had dreams of coming to the US, I would recommend, focusing on achieving product market fit locally first, and make sure that, you have a product that really addresses the needs of local customers. So you'll achieve some level of product market fit at that point. That doesn't necessarily mean that that product itself would be successful in a different country like in the US. And so just like Sudhir Kunuru did, at that point, the key members of the management team should really come to the US and set up shop here, and then go through that exercise all over again. And obviously it'll be shorter the second time around, but you will need to really understand what are the local flavors of customers in the US and what are their specific requirements. So you need to engage in deep conversations with local customers to see if they have the same pain points, the same needs, or they're different, and how do you adjust your product. But you can do that sitting in India. Your key members of your management team, ideally the CEO, should move to the US, and especially if US is going to be a main market, and set up shop just like Sudhir did at Zenoti. He's based now in Bellevue, Washington, where we are located. But that's a process that I would suggest that startups follow. They're based in India.
Excellent. For those who might have had joined late or had audio difficulties in the early part of this session, my name is Gowrishankar, and I'm here with Shirish Nadkarni, the author of the book From Startup to Exit. The book is published by HarperCollins and is available wherever books are sold. And it's really a guide to startup entrepreneurs. And I recommend all of you buying one and just keeping it on your desk and reading it and referring it to it whenever you run into what are regular operational entrepreneurial questions. Shirish, going back to your journey, so you've done multiple startups, you work for mercurial founders and CEOs, but reflecting back today, what would Shirish of today tell a younger Shirish who is starting out with wide-eyed and starry eyes, I should say, about in the entrepreneurial journey?
Well, first I would say get started earlier. I got started when I was almost 40 years old, which is not a bad age, but today VCs really have a preference for young founders. And when you're young, you have the flexibility. You don't have the burden of supporting a family and paying a mortgage and so forth. You can bunk with your parents in the basement and so forth. If you have great ideas, number one, get started now. As soon as possible. That's one piece of advice I would offer younger Shirish. The second thing is to that I emphasize to founders is to really understand, what are the technological shifts or the global, macro trends that are happening, and to ride those technological shifts or trends. As we have seen with companies like Amazon and Facebook and so forth, because it's only when there is a global transformation or technology shift that you can really displace incumbents. Today, for example, the key trends that are happening are the migration to cloud. AI ML has emerged as a new platform that allows you to build intelligent application. You have automation, digital transformations happening at work, and then finally you have the whole concept of remote work. And so there are lots of new opportunities that you can take advantage of, where there's major transformation that you can ride on.
Excellent. So the last question before we wrap up this fireside chat, just looking forward, where are you spending your time on? And now that you've been an executive, the entrepreneur, now an author, what next? So tell us where you're spending your time and what you're going to do next.
Yeah. So I love the startup ecosystem. I continue to advise a number of startups and invest in some of them. But I'm deeply involved, as you know, with TIE Seattle. For those of you who are not familiar with TIE, TIE is a global organization with over 60 different chapters, many of them very active in India. And I run a number of programs, all the way from programs to incubate new startups, to educate entrepreneurs. We have a program called TIE Entrepreneur Institute. And then, of course, we have an affiliated fund that Gauri and I are affiliated with, and we find promising B2B companies to invest in. So those are some of the main activities that I'm involved with in terms of the startup ecosystem. So
what next, Shirish?
From serial entrepreneur to serial author. I have a second book in the works, which I'm working on right now. And so you'll have to wait till I publish it to find out what it's all about.
Great. Shirish, thank you very much. It's always fascinating to talk to you. Everybody, please go out and buy From Startup to Exit by Shirish Nadkarni. It is truly a great read and a great guide. With that, thank you, Shirish, and thanks to ATEA, a great organization doing phenomenal work, and look forward to more from Lena, Ram, and Prakash. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Gauri, and thank you, ATEA, for this opportunity, and all the best with the rest of the program.
America, the country with the most entrepreneurs. Home to companies like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, and Tesla. Successful companies that have brought amazing innovation to the modern world. The American Tamil Entrepreneur Association, or ATEA, is home to those Tamil professionals who have left their homes behind and migrated here and found success as entrepreneurs and leaders in technology. Founded in the year 2016 by experienced entrepreneurs from San Francisco and New York, ATEA transcends national boundaries to bring together Tamil professionals from all over the world. ATEA has been conducting workshops and seminars that have informed and advised entrepreneurs in various fields about early investment, emerging technologies, technical know-how, and mentoring. ATEA has many programs that assist entrepreneurs in every stage of their journey. Entrepreneurs can leverage ATEA's deep ecosystem of CXOs, SMEs, VCs, academics, and corporate executives. Another major initiative by the American Tamil Entrepreneur Association is the Digital Accelerator program. Digital Accelerator helps entrepreneurs connect with venture capitalists and seasoned professionals who offer expert technical advice. You could even qualify for a startup grant offered by the government of Tamil Nadu. Join us as we come together as proud Tamilians from all over the world and march together towards a common goal. If you are a Tamil entrepreneur anywhere in the world, contact the American Tamil Entrepreneur Association by email at contact@ateausa.org or visit us at www.ateausa.org.
ATEA is a deep tech startup founded by the farmers for the farmers. We work on animal and human health to prevent infectious diseases using natural polymer technology, biotechnology, and nanotechnology. Our flagship product, Mamario, prevents mastitis disease in dairy cows and increases milk quality and farmers' revenue. Regulatory approvals and commercialization are in progress for this product. Our new antimicrobial formula, designed here in California, researched and developed in Tamil Nadu, is 5,000 times more efficient than those chemicals currently in the market. Top 5 international animal and health care companies shows interest in licensing our technology. To address this $75 billion market, we are investing more in Tamil Nadu for manufacturing and R&D and bringing employment opportunity to Tamil Nadu. Thanks for ATEA and thanks to Tamil Nadu government and Tamil Nadu Government Guidance Bureau for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Would you like to pursue a career in emerging fields? How would you like to ace your tests and get homework done faster? Bitwise Academy brings immersive and interactive learning experiences to school and college students and redefines the possibilities of distance education. We are recognized as a top 10 distance learning platform in the United States. Our #1 AI-driven platform provides STEM courses with certification, visualization and simulation of concepts for homework help, a world-class assessment engine to improve test scores, and live tutoring help when necessary. Every course has multiple assessments built in, and students will receive the Bitwise certificate upon course completion. Parents can track their students' progress from the parent dashboard. The reports provide detailed analytics, insights, and track student activity. Knowledge concept graphs provide a cognitive blueprint of the student and show the concepts mastered. Join Bitwise Academy and change your future.
Vanakkam. How do you become a good tennis player? You need to have good tools, good racket, good shoes, but you also need to have good techniques and a consistent practice. This is no difference for cybersecurity. Do you know that on average, more than 50% of the attacks are not prevented, detected, or alerted? How about the latest breaches such as Capital One and DoorDash? Is it because they lack the tools? No. Cybersecurity is not just a tooling issue. It is as much, if not more, an observability and a governance issue. Compliance Cow brings a holistic perspective to security observability and governance. We are an API-first middleware that makes it super easy to automate and continuously monitor your security policies for cloud and Kubernetes applications. The next time you hear someone say that we need more security tools, ask them to go to www.compliancecow.com. Thank you. Nandri.
Gowrishankar and FixNix. So I recently ran marathon, San Francisco Marathon, after contracting COVID. It's a big personal gratifying moment. So other than that, we got invited by government of US on people of extraordinary ability visa, and We are 8 years in business. We have 18 patents, pioneering software as a service business model in the governance, risk and compliance space. We got mentioned by Gartner last year along with 10 other top billion-dollar players in the space. And we were recognized as a top regulatory technology by Ernst & Young in RegTech 21. All other 6 have raised $250 million in capital. In the same way, RSA Conference Innovation Sandbox, we came as finalists. $100 billion is the market capitalization of all the finalists across the world. And we have 230 customers, 10,000 plus users. We have made $1 million in revenue cumulatively. We are looking forward to raise $10 million in capital. Looking forward.
Hi, I'm Ganesh. I'm a co-founder at Gyani.ai. Gyani.ai is a conversational AI company that's backed by Samsung Ventures. Let's start with the numbers first, usually a good place to start. We are a company that's growing at 100% quarter on quarter for the last 4 quarters and expect to be at 7.5 million ARR by March 2022. The problem that we are solving is that of the pain points of contact centers, especially with reference to efficiency, customer experience, and scale. We do this using our omni-channel no-code bot platform that is built on top of our proprietary technology backed by multiple patents. We are a bunch of experienced technocrats that have founded this company. Looking forward to talking to you.
In the event of a critical emergency, O2 Matic's Porsche delivers medical oxygen in less than a minute. Just twist and breathe. Oxygen generation starts in less than 40 seconds. Cartridge slots are provided where the cartridge can be conveniently lowered and locked into place. The oxygen mask is attached to the oxygen outlet port, and the mask is placed over the patient's nose and mouth. A twist trigger is provided on the cartridge. Simply twist to fit the trigger in the corresponding slot in the cartridge, and the oxygen production starts. The oxygen level indicator keeps track. When the indicator moves from green to red, insert the trigger into the replacement cartridge and replace the empty first cartridge. Cartridges can be replaced without ever interrupting the supply of emergency medical oxygen to the patient. With world-class design, tried and tested performance, and unbeatable advantages, O2 Matic is the go-to device you require to meet any medical emergency, whenever, wherever.
Aparna, co-founder and chief product officer at Shobitham. Shobitham is a digital-first D2C global ethnic fashion brand. Started in 2019, we now offer thousands of products with convenience, quality, and exceptional service, and have delighted tens of thousands of customers across 30 plus countries and have a community of 50,000 followers and growing. We are proudly Weavers First, Customers First. We work closely with 340 plus weavers to design unique products that appeal to a global audience. Show With Them is the platform to showcase their art. Our obsession for customers is evident from the 2,000 plus 5-star reviews that we've received in a short period of time. Being women-led, we stand committed to improving the condition of women engaged in this workforce and have partnered with world-class organizations to help them live a life of dignity and comfort. With a strong growth and a stellar future projection, we believe that the honored weaves and crafts of India, which are our cultural heritage and identity, will not just survive the test of time, but also thrive. Thank you.
I'm Nancy Shemwell, and I'm here today to introduce you to Trilogy Networks, founded by George Woodward and Vinky Swaminathan. Trilogy is deploying distributed cloud capacity across 1.5 million square miles of rural America, focused on the digital transformation of industries such as ag and its 2 million farms, energy and its 2 million miles of pipeline. In July, we launched our award-winning Farm Grid, an integrated farm-to-cloud solution. A hybrid multi-cloud solution, we're partnered with AWS, Microsoft, and soon to be announced Google. A Fortune 500 ag companies like CHS and ADCO offer us joint marketing abilities to their customer base. Our success is largely due to the creation and launch of the Trilogy Rural Cloud Initiative, the RCI, a 70-member industry coalition with members such as Intel, AWS, Qualcomm, and Microsoft, as well as 30 rural carriers. Our sole purpose is to accelerate revenue and adoption of our solution.
உலகின் தொழில்துறை முன்னோடிகள் அதிக அளவில் வாழும் நாடு அமெரிக்கா. புத்தாக்க சிந்தனைகளால் புதுமைகள் படைத்து நவீன உலகில் வெற்றி பெற்ற ஆப்பிள், கூகுள், மைக்ரோசாஃப்ட், ஃபேஸ்புக், அமேசான், டெஸ்லா போன்ற உலகின் மிகப்பெரிய நிறுவனங்களை உருவாக்கியதும் அமெரிக்காவே. தம் சொந்த மண்ணை விட்டு புலம்பெயர்ந்து அமெரிக்காவில் வாழ்ந்து இன்று பெரும் தொழில் முனைவோர்களாக உயர்ந்து விளங்கும் நம் தமிழர் அனைவரும் ஒன்றிணைந்த கூட்டமைப்பே ATEA, சிகரம் தொட்ட சாதனை தமிழர்களின் கூட்டமைப்பு, அமெரிக்கன் தமிழ் என்டர்பிரினியர்ஸ் அசோசியேஷன். 2016ஆம் ஆண்டு சான் பிரான்சிஸ்கோவிலும் நியூயார்க்கிலும் அனுபவம் வாய்ந்த தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் ஒரு சிலரால் ஆரம்பிக்கப்பட்டது இந்த ATEA. தேச எல்லைகள் கடந்து உலகெங்கும் பறந்து வாழும் நம் தமிழ் உறவுகள் மத்தியில் தொழில் முனைவோர் அனைவரையும் அரவணைத்து பல்வேறு தொழில்துறைகளில் முதலீட்டு ஆலோசனைகள், தொழில்நுட்ப ஆலோசனைகள், புதிய தொழில்துறைகளுக்கான ஆலோசனைகள் மற்றும் வழிகாட்டல்கள் அடங்கிய பயிலரங்குகளையும் கருத்தரங்குகளையும் தொடர்ச்சியாக நடத்தி வருகிறது ATEA. பல ஆயிரம் உறுப்பினர்களை கொண்ட ATEA இன்று தொடக்க நிலையில் இருக்கும் தொழில்நுட்ப நிறுவனங்களுக்கும், ஹெல்த் கேர், ஆர்கானிக் ஃபார்மிங், ரியல் எஸ்டேட் நிறுவனங்கள் மற்றும் பிரான்சைஸ் வணிகத்துறை ஆகியவற்றுக்கும் முதலீட்டாளர்களை அறிமுகம் செய்வதோடு அத்துறைகளில் அவர்களது வெற்றிக்கு வழிகாட்டியாக உதவிக்கரம் நீட்டும் பணியையும் செய்து வருகிறது. அமெரிக்க தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் சங்கத்தின் மற்றுமோர் புதிய முயற்சி ATEA டிஜிட்டல் ஆக்சலரேட்டர். இந்த முயற்சியின் மூலமாக பல முதலீட்டாளர்களின் அறிமுகமும், பல தொழில் வல்லுநர்களின் தொடர்பும், நிபுணர்களின் வழிகாட்டலும் மட்டுமன்றி தமிழக அரசின் ஸ்டார்ட் அப் கிராண்ட்ஸ், அதாவது மானிய உதவியும் கிடைக்கும் வாய்ப்பும் உள்ளது. வாருங்கள், தரணியெங்கும் வாழும் நம் தமிழர்களை தலை நிமிர்ந்த தமிழ் இனமாக மாற்றும் லட்சியத்துடன் ஒன்றிணைவோம். தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் உலகின் எந்த மூலையில் இருந்தாலும் அமெரிக்க தமிழ் தொழில் முனைவோர் சங்கத்துடன் இணைய தொடர்பு கொள்ளுங்கள். மின்னஞ்சல், இமெயில் contact@ateausa.org, இணையதளம் www.ateausa.org.
Thank you, Prakash, and sincere apologies for my previous glitch. Now ATEA welcomes Ms. Pooja Kulkarni. A little introduction about Ms. Pooja. Ms. Kulkarni is the Managing Director and CEO of Guidance, Tamil Nadu. She has served in various capacities with departments like Rural Development, Chennai Corporation, Elections, School Education, Industries, and Finance Department over the past 16 years. Prior to joining Guidance, she was the Special Secretary to the Government of Tamil Nadu Finance Department and CEO of Tamil Nadu Infrastructure Development Board, TNIDB. As a Special Secretary, she was also part of governing body, board of directors of various statutory bodies, including Guidance, Chennai Smart City Limited, New Tirupur Area Development Corporation Limited, ELCOT, TEDA, Tangem, TDFC, and TNUIFSL, among others. As the CEO of Tamil Nadu Infrastructure Development Board, she has structured several public-private partnerships, projects in urban infrastructure, and initiated detailed project reports for key projects in Greater Chennai Corporation. Now I welcome Ms. Kulkarni to the stage.
Thank you for the intro, Gauri. And thank you, Lena, Ram, and Prakash for setting this up. So I'm glad to be delivering this address to kick off the ATEA's second cohort for our Digital Accelerator program. I'm stating the obvious when I say that startups play an important role in the economic development of any region. So disruption of the traditional models, unleashing new creative ones is really the key to keep the engines of our economy in good working shape. Successful entrepreneurs, they innovate, bring new products and concepts to the market. They improve market efficiency, create jobs, enhance economic growth, and keep the whole structure going. One of the key factors that enable startups is innovation. And in this context, Tamil Nadu is really taking a lot of efforts to nurture the startup and innovation ecosystem. Tamil Nadu has been placed second in the India Innovation Index 2019. This ranking is done by Niti Aayog. Specifically, Chennai ranks fourth at the national level in the startup ecosystem. And Chennai also has been ranked to have the highest potential in the startup ecosystem nationally. We have also released the Startup and Innovation Policy in 2018. This policy aims to provide an enabling and innovative ecosystem in the state. The policy also offers very many incentives to startups willing to set up their operations within the state. Apart from the startup and innovation policy, in the industries department, our government of Tamil Nadu PSUs, that is SIPCOT and TITCO, are setting up many centers to catalyze innovation and enable startups to achieve manufacturing excellence. So SIPCOT is establishing industrial innovation centers at Sriperumbudur, Hosur, and Coimbatore industrial areas. Each of these innovation centers will offer comprehensive incubation facilities, resources, and services to nurture and accelerate the development of innovations. The Sriperumbudur Innovation Center will focus on innovation in mobility and defense and aerospace. The Hosur Center will aim to attract deep tech entrepreneurs focused on Industry 4.0 and industrial IoT. In Coimbatore, SIPCOT, in collaboration with Forge Accelerator as its partner incubator, will support advanced manufacturing. The other government of Tamil Nadu PSC, that is TITCO, is also setting up centers of excellence in collaboration with world-renowned companies like Siemens, GE Aerospace, Dassault, and these centers of excellence will also provide facilities to fabricate new products, will provide training, and will also foster entrepreneurship. It's not sufficient to just set up these centers. We understand that funding is the key, and to offer financial support to startups and enable them to scale up their business. through our various policies, government is setting up specific venture capital funds. So apart from the initial grants that are proposed under the startup policy and the soon to be released fintech policy, for further funding at a higher level, we will also be setting up a venture capital fund which will be sponsored by TITCO. This will be the Emerging Sector Fund, and it will be professionally managed by one of our asset management corporations. Apart from this, just to dwell upon the broader connect between the US and Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu is one of the major destinations of US foreign direct investment in India itself. So there are more than 300 US companies with projects, more than 375 projects. The investments in Tamil Nadu is greater than about $11 billion, and all these are housed in Tamil Nadu. US companies have invested across the state. So we have, just to name a few, we have Dell, Caterpillar, Amazon, IBM, Flextronics, GE, Sanmina, HP. All these have made Tamil Nadu their home for manufacturing. Chennai is also emerging as a global data center hub. Companies are also setting up their global capability centers here. Ford has a large global capability center having more than 12,000 employees engaged in R&D. Citibank has their tech capability center housed in Chennai. These are just a few. Apart from the US companies, there are, of course, other international successful companies which have their global capability and R&D centers set up here. Apart from the broad US and Tamil Nadu relationship, we have taken efforts over the past few years to deepen this connect, and we have also made an attempt to formalize this connect, particularly with the Tamil diaspora worldwide. Guidance has launched Yadumure. It's a platform to channelize the potential of the diaspora, the Tamil diaspora, in promotion of business investments into Tamil Nadu. So last year, in October 2020, the first edition of the Global Yadumure Conclave was organized. It received very wide participation, with audience joining in from more than 38 countries and more than 300 associations. So in the last year and a half, Tamil Nadu has received various proposals, investment proposals via the Yadumure platform from the US as well as ATEA. And ATEA in this regard has been acting as the non-exclusive US desk for guidance. To dwell on this particular initiative with ATEA, so Guidance has collaborated with ATEA, and we have launched what we call the Digital Accelerator to promote next generation technologies and to attract investments from USA into Tamil Nadu, specifically via startups. So this is the second cohort. In the first cohort, 75 startups applied for the grant. Under this initiative, we offer grants to startups from the US who are setting up their operations in Tamil Nadu. So 75 startups applied for the grant. They went through a rigorous evaluation process, at the end of which 5 startups were awarded grants. A total of rupees 3.5 crores was awarded. For each startup, the program grants up to 10% of their capital raised, subject to a cap of rupees 1 crore towards operational and capital expenditure incurred. So it's on a reimbursement basis. Depending on the capital that the startup itself has raised, the grant that we award, it goes up proportionately. So my request to all the startups via this forum is to apply through this program and make Tamil Nadu your home. Just to dwell upon a bit on the overall investment climate in the state. So this year alone, Guidance has signed 77 memoranda of understanding worth about 47,000 crores, offering employment to more than 162,000 persons. The sectors in which we are seeing a lot of traction, one is automobiles, basically through the two-wheeler EV segment, through which we mobilized about nearly 16,000 crores of investment. The electronics hardware manufacturing, nearly 10,000 crores, and the chemical sector stands at about 4,400 crores. For 2022, we will see fructification of a lot of groundbreaking projects, and our focus sectors continue to remain the EV segment, the renewable energy, electronics hardware manufacturing. So these are the sectors that we look to mobilize investments in a large way for the coming years. We have also lined up large-scale investment proposals to be signed, and we are confident that Tamil Nadu will continue to remain a highly preferred destination. Apart from these, the other sunrise sectors that we are targeting will be aerospace and defense, pharma, research and development in all these sectors. These will be our priorities during the year. And as travel is slowly opening up and visa restrictions are being eased, we hope that we will continue to attract inbound delegations. We recently had a delegation from Denmark with particular interest in wind energy, manufacturing of blades and components. We hope that we will see many such delegations during the year. Before I conclude my address, just to briefly introduce about guidance. So we are the nodal agency for investment promotion and facilitation for the government of Tamil Nadu. We have sector-specific and country-specific desks. For US also, we have a country-specific desk to help address investor queries and facilitate their investments. And we are open 24/7 to facilitate investment proposals. I wish all the startups who are now participating today to go through the deal flow. Thank you. And once again, welcoming you all to TN and hoping that we will have an opportunity to partner. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Ms. Kulkarni, this is unbelievable. It's truly, truly inspiring. Like, I'm amazed. I'm sitting here. There's so many incredible initiatives that you are driving, and you're helping the startups, and you're helping ATEA to find a mark in Tamil Nadu. We thank you for your service, and we look forward to working with you to take this further.
Thank you, Janaki.
Yeah. I would like to introduce Mr. Armagam. Dr. Armagam is the director of ATEA Chennai. He holds MTech from IIT Chennai and a PhD in artificial intelligence from Toronto University. He has over 30 years of experience in technology industry in the areas of supply chain management, healthcare, retail, energy, and financial services outsourcing. He has won numerous awards, including IEEE Award for Outstanding Innovation in Public Drug Distribution. Armagam, stage is yours.
Thank you, Kauda, Janaki Kauda, and the dear Ram, the founder, and Elena, and the vibrant industry department, officers of the industries department, and friends. I think the Tamil Nadu has been making a sweeping growth in startup industries. As Madam said, we are the fourth, Chennai is the fourth destination in the country, and it is poising to a very higher level. The new government which has come is also giving a lot of impetus in the growth of industry. So if you look at the last couple of years, the growth has been pretty fast. I think the number of entrepreneurs being invited and the startups have been identified is growing in a great way. As you know, the Tamil Nadu GDP was mere 160 million in 1960, has grown to 300 billion today, and this is the second largest economy in the country. And the good news is we have the large number of engineering colleges, and which offers quite a good technology for the students, and which really an accelerating driver for the growth of Tamil Nadu. And if you look at the kind of industry, the GDP and the workforce, it is 13% for agriculture and 34% for industry and 53% for the service industry. So there is a large amount of service industries which are being now establishing well in India. I think if you look at the relationship, what ATEA has with the guidance has been forged in 2020, and it is accelerating into a new phenomena. I think the number of entrepreneurs have been incubated and supported, which ATEA has brought to Tamil Nadu, was phenomenal, and most of them getting support. That's good news. And the relationship what we have with the industries department, the guidance bureau, and finance department has been wonderful, and they have been on a great support for the for all the initiatives which ATEA brings in. And let me inform everyone and thank ATEA's great effort for extending oxygen generators during the second wave of COVID, which was very highly appreciated by the government and everyone in Tamil Nadu, because it has supported the most needy patients in rural and semi-urban areas also. I think now the ATEA services will definitely grow in a big way. Keeping that in mind, with Ram and Lena's initiative, I think we are opening up the office for ATEA in Chennai, and that's going to be functional, and that's going to help in locating a large amount of successful entrepreneur. From here, they need the help in the US. So this exchange will start from now. I think ATEA has got a brilliant plan for setting up a number of startups from here, and which we can bring it to the US as well. I think if you look at the recent startups, successful startups, there are plenty of successful startups that has happened in the recent years. And to add a few, I think I would love to present, I think the Suleka has been a great success. And of course, the NetMeds, Bank Bazaar, and Fintbox are really a very successful the newcomers, and Bank Bazaar and Zoho, and very recently the Freshworks has started out from Trichy and grown in a big way. I think this is going to be a fantastic show from Tamil Nadu, and think ATEA will support in every way. I thank everyone for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Armagam. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to introduce Mr. N. Muruganandam, IAS. He is presently working as the Principal Secretary to Tamil Nadu government in the Industries Department. In his career that spans over 25 years, he has held positions of Collector, Coimbatore, Karur, and Chennai, Managing Director of Poompuhar Shipping Corporation. He has worked in the Government of India as Joint Secretary, looking after ports, Joint Secretary in Rural Development. He was also the Project Director of World Funded Poverty Alleviation Program, Pudu Varvu. He was the Principal Resident Commissioner of Tamil Nadu House before joining this post. Presently, as the Principal Secretary, Industries, his primary job is to promote investment, industries, and exports in Tamil Nadu and attract foreign direct investment to the state. Unfortunately, Mr. Muruganandam was pulled into a meeting with the CM in Bangalore at the last minute. So he has graciously recorded his keynote, and now you will hear the recording.
Delivering the keynote address for ATEA's Digital Accelerator Startup Cohort KickOff. Our engagement with ATEA has been very successful, and we want to now take it to the next level. One of the greatest strengths of Tamil Nadu and the Tamil people is the widespread and vibrant Tamil diaspora, which is found in most countries in Europe, Asia, North America, and Australia. we want to very closely work with our Tamil brethren to develop our state and our people. Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Thiru M.K. Stalin, is a visionary leader, and he has given the vision of making Tamil Nadu a $1 trillion economy by 2030. We need to create employment for around 46 lakh youth by this time. The target for export from Tamil Nadu is $100 billion by the year 2030. The Honorable Chief Minister has also exhorted all of us to take Made in Tamil Nadu label to all parts of the world. Hence, the Industries Department, under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Minister for Industries, Thiru Thangam Thennarasu, is working towards achieving this vision and targets. How do we achieve these targets? We have identified many focus sectors on which we will be paying attention. One of the main areas is the service sector, wherein Tamil Nadu is very strong. It contributes almost 54% to our state GDP. Fintech is one area which we feel we have tremendous potential, and we can leverage on the strengths of Chennai, which is a strong center for fintech. So a special fintech cell is being formed in guidance, and we are also promoting fintech city near Chennai. We are now formulating a new fintech policy which will be released very soon. The other areas in the service sector is ITS and data centers. So in the last 12 months, we have been able to attract investment of around 18,000 crores in data centers alone. All these new emerging areas like artificial intelligence, robotics, these are the areas where we will be focusing on. Coming to manufacturing, we feel traditionally we have a lot of strengths in automobiles, in leather, in textile and general engineering. Now we are also doing well in various emerging sectors, and our attention is being paid to these sectors. Important ones are electronic manufacturing. Now Sri Perumbudur and Krishnagiri both are becoming big hubs for electronic manufacturing. So this is one focus area for us. Electric vehicles and battery manufacturing. So Tamil Nadu has become the largest hub for electric vehicles, particularly two-wheelers, in the whole country. Many big players have set up their factories in Tamil Nadu in electric vehicles. Technical textiles is another area where we feel there's tremendous potential, and we are working on it. Solar panel manufacturing and solar energy. This is another area where Tamil Nadu is emerging as a big hub. And in wind energy, manufacturing for wind energy, the turbines and other machineries for wind energy. So in this sector also, Tamil Nadu has become a hub. Big players like Vestas, Nordex and many other players are there in Tamil Nadu. Leather and footwear is another focus area for us, because we feel a lot of employment can be generated by these sectors. Petrochemicals and specialty chemicals is a very important area if we have to actually reach the $1 trillion economy by 2030. Some big projects are in the pipeline. The Chennai Petroleum Corporation Limited, CPCL, is setting up a 32,000 crore project in Nagapattinam, a petrochemical complex. There are two other big players also who are in talks with us. So we feel that once this infrastructure of petrochemicals is in place in Tamil Nadu, then it will lead to a lot of downstream industries coming up, and which can generate tremendous employment for our youth. Medical devices and pharmaceuticals is another area which has a lot of promise for us. Recently, last week, Government of India has announced a new medical devices park in Tamil Nadu. They will be supporting it. It will be set up in Muruganandam near Chennai. So what is our strategy to attract investments in these sectors? So we are following a multifold strategy. One, aggressive outreach through guidance to companies in all the sectors. Then we are also parallelly setting up specialized parks, industrial parks with the world-class infrastructure. like as I mentioned, we are setting up a medical devices park in Muruganandam, a global furniture park in Thuthukudi, a future mobility park near Hosur in Sulagiri, and mega food parks in Dindivanam, in Theni, and in Manapari. Then we are also setting up centers of excellence in niche areas, in high-tech areas, because we want to graduate the present industry to 4.0 standards. So already 2 centers of excellence we have signed MOUs for. One is with the GE Aviation and other one is with Dassault. Similarly, we will be setting up the centers of excellence in collaboration with the private sector in different niche areas. Another very important strategy which we are looking at is to upgrade the skills of our human resources. So our human resources is the biggest strength in Tamil Nadu. So we will have to continuously keep upgrading the skills of our students. So we are focusing on ITIs and polytechnics so that we can, if we can improve the quality of education in these institutes and bring them to Industry 4.0 standards, then it will be a great strength for Tamil Nadu. We are also formulating new policies for each of the sectors. Recently, Honorable Chief Minister released the export promotion strategy for Tamil Nadu. We are working on revising and updating our electric vehicle policy. We are working on a new R&D policy, a life sciences policy, and a data center policy. Promoting a startup ecosystem and innovation, we feel, is very, very important for Tamil Nadu if it has to continue to lead the race for development and if it has to generate employment for its youth. We are behind Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai in terms of startup ecosystem. So this is one area which needs a lot of focus, lot of support from the state and from all stakeholders. We need the help and support of the Tamil diaspora in our efforts to promote the startup ecosystem and the emerging sectors like fintech. We want your knowledge, your mentorship, your time and guidance for the startups of our state. ATEA has been doing a tremendous job working with guidance and nurturing the startups. So we are very happy. I want to congratulate all the members of ATEA who have spared their time and done this great job. Now we want to scale up this initiative, scale up this engagement to the next level. We want to form advisory councils for various sectors, and we want accomplished Tamil professionals from various countries to be part of these advisory councils and give us guidance. I'm very sure and confident that if we all work together, we can make Tamil Nadu the best investment destination in the world, not only in South Asia, but in the whole world. And we can make the dreams and vision of our Chief Minister a reality. I wish ATEA and the Startup Cohort 2 all success. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hello, can you all hear me? Yeah, I think Prakash is having an audio problem, so I just took that over. He was going to go through the whole slideshow of the ATEA Digital Accelerator, who are all the players who have helped us, and the whole process. So what you see there is the curators that we have that have helped us. So there's about 15 curators across the nation. They usually take all the startups that were submitted, work with the startups on the first round of curating the whole submission, getting ready for evaluation. So we thank you all for these curators. And then after it's curated, it goes into an evaluator. We have very seasoned entrepreneurs in this area that actually evaluates all the companies that were submitted. We got close to 50 to 75 submissions in this cohort too, and still more is coming. So it's a tough job for the evaluator to filter that. And thanks to all the evaluators, there's more being. If you want to be an evaluator, whoever is listening, please send us an email, and we will try to see whether we can also accommodate you. And these are for the Cohort 2, the venture firms that are going to be there tomorrow to go through it. So these are all extremely interested venture firms on these things. So thank you for all these firms to come and help us through this deal flow. And here you have seen the videos of these companies doing the show, and these are the companies that have been shortlisted. And very exciting to listen to their pitch. These are all very seasoned entrepreneurs, have a vested interest, not only in doing more in the US, but also in India, which is Tamil Nadu as well. I want to take this opportunity to thank Prakash and the MCs, as well as our Fire Chat speakers, Girish and Shirish Nadkarni. Thank you all. That was very informative for the audience. I think audience will accept. And then the CEO and MD of Guidance. Thanks for that keynote address, as well as the Principal Secretary as well. There was a lot of good information we did receive from them towards investing in Tamil Nadu and where they are focusing and what we can also focus. And they're inviting all these startups to come and help in the growth of the economy of the Tamil Nadu as well. So tomorrow is going to be a great day with all these pitches. So thanks for all the entrepreneurs who are going to be there, as well as the venture capital firms who are going to be participating. So looking forward to the great pitch, and see you all tomorrow. At least see you all the VCs and the firms tomorrow, and we will let everybody know what the results are going to be and how we did in this cohort too. Thank you all. Thank you very much for all the folks listening in the East Coast, which is late, as well as the West Coast of US, as well as in India. Thank you very much. Thank you.